The case management system showed my trial exhibits uploaded to someone else's docket at 3:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. I was home with food poisoning. I'm Trevor Kingsley, 42, white-collar defense partner at one of Raleigh's fastest-growing practices. 20 years of criminal defense work taught me to trust over instinct. But staring at my computer screen that Wednesday morning, instinct screamed louder than logic. The exhibits belonged to my biggest case, a federal embezzlement defense worth $800,000 in fees, months of preparation, hundreds of hours building strategy around those specific documents. Now they appeared in the system under case number 2024 CV 8847, assigned to Bryce Dunmore, our litigation chair. I pulled the metadata, upload timestamp, Tuesday, 3 hours 47 minutes and 23 seconds AM. User authentication, T. Kingsley. My credentials. My digital signature. Impossible. Tuesday night I was unconscious from food poisoning, barely conscious enough to text my assistant about canceling depositions. The nearest computer was my home office, password protected and untouched. I checked the security logs. No remote access, no VPN connections. Nothing. Yet there they were. My exhibits. My work product. My case strategy. All sitting in Bryce's file like they belonged there. I scrolled through the documents. Every piece of I'd carefully curated for trial. Financial records showing my client's innocence. Expert witness reports that took months to develop. The smoking gun email that would destroy the prosecution's timeline. All uploaded under my name to a case I'd never heard of. My phone buzzed. Text from Bryce. Great work on the Morrison exhibits. Clients thrilled with the strategy. Morrison. I didn't have a client named Morrison. I pulled case 2024 CV 8847 from the firm database. Bryce Dunmore, lead counsel. Client, Morrison Industries. Federal embezzlement defense. Trial date. Next Monday. The same charges. The same federal prosecutor. The same judge. My case. His name. I checked my own file. Case 2024 CV 8831. Same client name in my notes. Same retainer agreement. Same everything, except the system showed Bryce as lead counsel and me as, quote, consulting attorney. Consulting attorney. On my own case. 20 years of practice. I knew document fraud when I saw it. But this wasn't some opposing counsel playing games. This was internal. This was family. My hands shook as I printed the upload logs. The timestamp burned into my vision. 3:47 a.m., while I was home, sick, trusting my partners to handle the firm's business with integrity. The exhibits represented months of work, my strategy, my client relationship. Now they belong to someone else. I grabbed my phone and dialed IT support. This is Trevor Kingsley. I need to speak with someone about unauthorized system access. Hold please, Mr. Kingsley. The hold music played while I stared at my screen. $800,000 in fees. My biggest case of the year. My reputation with federal prosecutors. My client's freedom. All of it uploaded to someone else's file in the middle of the night. Mr. Kingsley, this is tech support. How can I help? I need access logs for my user account. Tuesday night, around 3:47 a.m. Let me check. I show normal login activity. No red flags. That's impossible. I was homesick. The logs show authentication from your office computer. Standard login procedures. I hung up and walked to my office door. Locked, just like I'd left it Monday afternoon. No signs of forced entry. No indication anyone had been inside. But someone had been here. Someone with access to my computer, my passwords, my cases. Someone who knew exactly which exhibits would win the Morrison trial. The phone rang. Caller ID showed the federal prosecutor's office. Mr. Kingsley, this is Assistant U.S. Attorney Evangeline Hartwell. We need to discuss the Morrison Industries case. My stomach dropped. What about it? Your colleague Bryce Dunmore contacted us yesterday. He's requesting a continuance based on news you allegedly withheld from the defense team. I gripped the phone tighter. I didn't withhold anything. According to Mr. Dunmore, you've been conducting parallel discovery without informing lead counsel. He's filed a motion to exclude your exhibits pending ethics review. The line went dead. I stared at my computer screen. watching my life's work disappear into someone else's case file. 3 months earlier, everything had been different. Bryce had walked into my office with a bottle of Macallan 18 and a partnership offer. "Trevor, you're the best white-collar defense attorney in North Carolina. We need you." The firm had been growing fast. Too fast, maybe. New partners every quarter. New offices in Charlotte and Asheville. Revenue climbing toward $50 million annually. "What's the catch?" I'd asked. "No catch. We want you to head our federal defense division. Full equity partnership. Your own team." The offer was generous. More than generous. They'd even paid for my advanced federal criminal practice certification when my previous firm couldn't afford it. $15,000 for a 2-week intensive at Georgetown Law. Why me? Because you win cases other lawyers won't touch. Morrison Industries called specifically asking for you. Morrison Industries. The pharmaceutical company facing federal embezzlement charges. $87 million in missing research funds. The kind of case that could make or break a career. I'd accepted the partnership offer that same day. The Morrison case had consumed my life for 6 months. Federal prosecutors claimed the company's executives had diverted research grants into personal accounts. The Morrison agree was circumstantial but damaging. Bank records, email chains, suspicious wire transfers. My defense strategy was simple. Prove the money went to legitimate research expenses, not personal enrichment. I'd spent weeks tracking down invoices, contracts, and payment authorizations. Every document told the same story. The funds were properly allocated. The breakthrough came in November. A forensic accountant I'd hired discovered discrepancies in the government's financial analysis. They'd miscategorized legitimate research expenses as personal withdrawals. The error was systematic and significant. I'd prepared 43 exhibits proving the government's case was fundamentally flawed. Each exhibit was meticulously documented, cross-referenced, and verified. The kind of preparation that wins federal trials. Now those exhibits belonged to Bryce Dunmore. I pulled up the firm's internal directory and found Bryce's extension. He answered on the first ring. "Trevor, how are you feeling? Still under the weather? We need to talk. Now." Of course. My office? I walked down the hall, past the conference rooms where I'd spent countless hours preparing for Morrison, past the law library where I'd researched federal sentencing guidelines, past the break room where Bryce and I had shared coffee and case strategies. His office door was open. Bryce sat behind his desk, reviewing what looked like my Morrison exhibits. "Close the door," I said. He complied, then returned to his chair. "What's on your mind?" "The Morrison case. Why does the system show you as lead counsel?" "Ah." He leaned back, fingers steepled. "I was hoping we could discuss this more gradually." "Discuss what?" "The partnership voted Tuesday night. Emergency session. We're concerned about your handling of the Morrison defense." I felt the room tilt slightly. My handling? The client complained about communication gaps, missed deadlines, incomplete discovery responses. "That's impossible. I've been in constant contact with Morrison's general counsel." "Have you?" Bryce opened a file folder. "According to our records, you haven't returned their calls in 2 weeks." He slid a phone log across the desk. "Morrison Industries. Multiple missed calls. No return calls logged." "This is wrong. I spoke with their GC yesterday." "Trevor, I think you're more exhausted than you realize. The partnership feels it's best if I take point on Morrison. You can stay involved as consulting counsel." Consulting counsel. The same phrase from the case management system. "When did this vote happen?" "Tuesday night, 7:30. We tried to reach you, but you weren't answering your phone." "Tuesday night, when I was home with food poisoning, barely conscious from medication." "Who voted?" "All equity partners. Unanimous decision." I studied his face. Bryce had been my closest ally at the firm. We'd worked late nights together, shared strategies, built trust over months of collaboration. "Show me the meeting minutes." "Trevor, you're not thinking clearly. Maybe you should take some time off." "Show me the minutes, Bryce." He hesitated, then opened his laptop. "The partnership is concerned about your recent performance. Missing client meetings. Incomplete filings. The Morrison case is too important to risk. I haven't missed any meetings. Haven't you? He turned his screen toward me. Client meeting, Monday at 2 p.m. You were supposed to present the defense strategy. The calendar entry showed my name. Meeting with Morrison Industries executives. Status, no-show. But I'd been in court Monday afternoon. Motion hearing in the Patterson case. Judge Williams had complimented my brief. I was in court Monday. The Patterson hearing was rescheduled. Don't you remember? I pulled out my phone and checked my calendar. The Patterson hearing showed as canceled. Rescheduled to next week. But I remembered being in court. I remembered Judge Williams. I remembered winning the motion. Bryce, something's wrong here. I agree. That's why the partnership acted. I stood up, mind racing. The uploaded exhibits. The altered calendar entries. The missing phone logs. How long have you been planning this? Planning what? Taking my case. My client. My work. His expression shifted slightly. The friendly concern disappeared, replaced by something colder. Trevor, the Morrison case was always a firm case. You were assigned to work on it. Now you're being reassigned. I brought Morrison to the firm. They specifically requested me. Actually, they requested our firm. I made the initial contact. That's not true, isn't it? He opened another file. Here's the original engagement letter. Signed by Morrison's CEO. Addressed to me personally. The letterhead was correct. Morrison Industries. But the date was wrong. The letter was dated 2 weeks before I'd joined the firm. 2 weeks before Morrison had supposedly called asking for me specifically. This is fabricated. Trevor, I think you need help. Professional help. I grabbed the engagement letter and examined it closely. The signature looked authentic. The letterhead was perfect. Even the paper stock matched Morrison's corporate standards. But I knew it was fake. I knew Morrison had requested me personally. I knew I'd brought them to the firm. The exhibits I prepared, where are they? Safe. Don't worry about that. I want copies. They're work product, firm property. I created them, while employed by the firm, using firm resources. I realized then how carefully this had been planned, how long Bryce had been watching, waiting, preparing. The certification program at Georgetown. You paid for it. The firm paid for it. Investment in our federal practice. You needed me trained on federal procedure. We needed our federal division properly equipped. So you could steal my work. So we could serve our clients effectively. I looked at him across the desk. 6 months of partnership. 6 months of trust. 6 months of sharing strategies, case theories, client insights. He'd been harvesting everything. How much did you take? I don't know what you mean. Morrison's retainer. $800,000. How much goes to you now? The standard partnership distribution applies. Which gives you what percentage? 40%. As litigation chair, $320,000. My biggest case of the year, and Bryce would collect nearly 1/3 of the fees. The other cases I've been working on will be reassigned as appropriate. To you. To whoever can best serve the clients. I stood up and walked to his window. The view overlooked downtown Raleigh, federal courthouse visible in the distance. Where I was supposed to try the Morrison case Monday morning. Where Bryce would try it instead. One question. Of course. How did you access my computer Tuesday night? His pause lasted exactly 3 seconds. Long enough to confirm everything. I don't know what you're talking about. The upload logs show 3:47 a.m. My computer. My login credentials. Maybe you forgot. You were pretty sick. I was unconscious from medication. Memory can be unreliable when you're ill. I turned back to face him. You have my passwords. That's a serious accusation. You've been monitoring my work for months. Trevor, you're paranoid. Maybe you should see someone. Show me your computer. Excuse me? Your laptop. Show me the browser history. That's inappropriate. Show me your case management access logs. I think this conversation is over. I walked to his desk and reached for his laptop. He slammed it shut. Don't touch my property. Afraid I'll find my exhibits in your recent files? Get out of my office. How long have you been planning this, Bryce? Planning what? Since Georgetown? Since the certification program? You're having a breakdown. Since you recruited me? Was this always the plan? Security! He pressed his desk phone. I need security in my office. The Morrison case was bait. You needed someone with federal experience to build the defense. Security, please respond to the litigation chair's office. Then you'd take credit for the work. 2 security guards appeared in the doorway. I recognized them both. We'd shared elevators, exchanged pleasantries in the lobby. Gentlemen, Mr. Kingsley is having some kind of episode. Please escort him to his office. That won't be necessary. I walked toward the door. I'll find my own way. Trevor. Bryce's voice followed me into the hallway. Take some time off, get help. The partnership cares about you. I didn't respond. I walked back to my office, past the conference rooms, past the law library, past the break room where I'd trusted a colleague who'd been systematically stealing my career. My computer screen still showed the Morrison case file. Bryce Dunmore, lead counsel. Trevor Kingsley, consulting attorney. $800,000 in fees. 6 months of work. My reputation with federal prosecutors. All of it transferred to someone else in the middle of the night, while I lay unconscious, trusting my partners to protect what I'd built. I opened my desk drawer and pulled out the Morrison Industries business card. Direct line to their general counsel. Time to make a phone call. The Morrison Industries general counsel answered on the second ring. This is Trevor Kingsley from the partnership. We need to discuss your case representation. Mr. Kingsley, I thought Bryce Dunmore was handling our matter. That's what I'm calling about. There's been a significant development. Silence on the line. Then, what kind of development? The kind that requires an immediate meeting. Can you be here in an hour? I'll be there in 30 minutes. I spent those 30 minutes documenting everything. Screenshots of the case management logs, printouts of the billing records, copies of my original exhibits with timestamps, the digital paper trail that would prove what happened. Morrison's general counsel arrived with their litigation director. Both looked concerned. Gentlemen, I need to inform you of a serious breach of professional conduct involving your case. I laid out them methodically. The unauthorized access, the transferred exhibits, the altered billing records, the systematic theft of my work product. You're telling us our lead counsel stole case materials from his own partner? I'm telling you that Bryce Dunmore has been representing himself as the primary architect of your defense strategy when the work was performed by me without his knowledge or authorization. What does this mean for our case? It means you need new counsel immediately. They left 20 minutes later, taking their retainer with them. My phone rang before they reached the elevator. Trevor, what the hell did you just do? Bryce's voice carried across the office floor. I told the truth. You just cost this firm $800,000. You cost this firm $800,000 when you decided to steal my work. I want to see you in the conference room, now. The conference room held 5 partners. Bryce sat at the head of the table like he was chairing a board meeting. The managing partner, Evangeline Ashworth, looked uncomfortable. Trevor, we need to discuss your recent behavior. My behavior? Making wild accusations against a senior partner. Contacting clients without authorization. Disrupting firm operations. I contacted my client to inform them of a conflict of interest. Your client? Bryce leaned. Morrison Industries retained this firm, not you personally. Using my work product, my trial strategy, my exhibits. Work product belongs to the firm. Work product created without your knowledge or participation. Evangeline cleared her throat. Trevor, these are serious allegations. Do you have proof? I placed the printed logs on the table. Case management access records. Bryce accessed my Morrison files 47 times between midnight and 6 a.m. over the past month. I review all major cases. You downloaded my exhibits and uploaded them to your personal case folder. That's standard file management. At 3 a.m., while I was unconscious from surgery, the room went quiet. You were recovering from surgery, Evangeline said. Bryce was covering your cases. Covering them or stealing them? That's enough. The managing partner stood. This meeting is over. No, it's not. I pulled out my phone. Because I've already contacted the North Carolina State Bar. Every face in the room changed. You filed a complaint? Professional misconduct, theft of work product, fraudulent billing, client deception. Bryce's composure finally cracked. You have no idea what you've done. I know exactly what I've done. The bar will investigate both of us. Your career is over. My career was already over. You made sure of that. I walked out of the conference room and back to my office. My computer showed 17 missed calls and 43 emails. Word was spreading fast. The next morning brought a visitor I wasn't expecting. Mr. Kingsley? I'm Mark Bennett, Legal Financial Surveillance Lead with the Revenue Oversight Task Force. He showed his credentials and sat across from my desk. We received a complaint regarding financial irregularities at this firm. From who? Morrison Industries. They're concerned about billing fraud related to their case. I spent 2 hours walking Bennett through everything. The stolen exhibits, the altered timestamps, the fraudulent billing records that showed Bryce performing work he'd never done. This is more extensive than we initially thought, Bennett said. We'll need to examine all of Mr. Dunmore's cases from the past year. How long will that take? Weeks. Maybe months. In the meantime, we're freezing his access to firm accounts. That afternoon, Bryce was escorted from the building by security. His computer, files, and office contents were sealed pending investigation. Evangeline called me into her office at 5 p.m. The partnership is dissolving, she said without preamble. Because of this? Because of what Bennett found in the preliminary review. Bryce wasn't just stealing from you. She handed me a folder. Inside were billing records for 6 different cases, all showing the same pattern. Work performed by junior associates, credited to Bryce, billed at senior partner rates. How much? $2.4 million over 18 months. I stared at the numbers. How did he think he'd get away with it? He almost did. If you hadn't caught the Morrison theft, we might never have found the rest. What happens now? Criminal charges. Bar discipline. Client lawsuits. The firm won't survive this. And the other attorneys? We're helping everyone find new positions. Including you. I'm not sure I want to practice law anymore. Don't let him take that from you too. 3 weeks later, Bryce Dunmore was arrested on charges of wire fraud, money laundering, and professional misconduct. The local legal news covered it extensively, though they kept the firm name confidential. I testified at his bar hearing 6 months later. The disciplinary board revoked his license permanently and ordered full restitution to affected clients. Morrison Industries hired me directly as their new outside counsel. Other clients followed. But the real satisfaction came from something else entirely. The Revenue Oversight Task Force asked me to help develop new protocols for detecting financial fraud in law firms. My experience with digital forensics and case management systems made me uniquely qualified to spot the warning signs. I help law firms craft betrayal response protocols. It's specialized work but necessary. Every month brings new cases of partners stealing from partners, associates billing phantom hours, or senior attorneys claiming credit for work they never performed. The patterns are always the same. The technology makes it easier to catch them. Justice moves slowly in the legal profession, but it moves.